Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to session number 8 of our 6 weeks to fitness program. Now, I hope that you are enjoying these classes and that you are taking action. The reason I say that because you may have college degrees and various certifications, but do you know what counts more than anything else? Action. You can have all of the book knowledge in the world, but without taking action, it means absolutely nothing. Your health isn't based on theory, it's based on proven fact. And the fact of the matter is that you will not succeed unless you take action. Now, this evening, before George comes on, I want to share excerpts from an interview that I conducted on my 6 Weeks of Fitness podcast with Dr. Ford Brewer. Now, Dr. Brewer is a board certified physician. I spoke with him a few months ago, and we talked about various things. Okay, he's an occupational medical specialist and a globally recognized speaker for organizations including the National Governors Association and the Brookings Institute. Dr. Brewer is also the founder of PrevMed Heart Attack and Stroke Prevention. We discussed the latest information on heart disease, heart attacks, and the importance of building muscle to improve your health. We spoke about a lot of things, but I just extracted a few things that we spoke about, and I just want you to listen to what the Dr. Brewer had to say. Donna, can you share it for me? Part of your media advisory, I read something that really caught my attention. It said that cardiovascular disease causes 10 times more fatalities in women than breast cancer.
Yes.
Is that true? I couldn't believe
the story. It. Yeah, you're not alone. Most people feel that way. And that's why we put that statistic in there. Most people, women included, I'm a big fan of the Susan G. Komen Foundation, the pink ribbon,
right.
I really want to raise awareness, but they've done such a good job for awareness of breast cancer in women.
Yes.
And the heart disease folks just maybe haven't done so good. And
not
like
at all.
You said, 10 times the number of women are dying from heart disease than from breast cancer.
That is incredible to me, to hear that. But why is it so prevalent in women?
There's actually even more heart attacks that occur among women than men. Believe it or not, people don't believe that either. There's a few things that are unique about what's going on with women that make it more difficult. First of all, when you look at men and women tend to have their heart attacks in their 70s, whereas men tend to have theirs in their 50s and 60s. So men and their heart attacks get more attention. The second thing is, if you actually look at, and they've looked at data on this as well. When women go into the ER with heart attacks, they tend to get missed. They tend to get sent home when they have a heart attack more than men. There's a couple of reasons for it. One of them is the thing that you and I just talked about and that you brought up. Women,
everybody is muted,
have far more heart attacks than people think. But there's another thing about women and their hearts that's very unique. They don't have the classic symptoms nearly as much as men. There's an elephant sitting on my chest. Right. It's right here. It's going down my arm. No, women will often come in and say, I just feel sweaty all the time. I'm just sweating for the past 2 or 3 days. That's it. Or, I feel like I'm having my period. I feel kind of funny. Or I'm just feeling like I'm under a lot of stress. And so they get these things that they get diagnosed as mental health. It must be anxiety. It must be that you're upset. And meanwhile, she's having a heart attack.
Unbelievable. That's one of the signs.
It really is.
What are the signs?
So one of the jobs, Jeannie in our group is going to be presenting some things about women's heart attack and heart health. And hey, be aware. Don't think that just because you're having a little bit of sweats that it's,
Yeah,
that can be a heart attack.
it's good to know. Energy.
When you got muscles like that, they'll just pull that sugar out of the blood and bypass these ailing insulin receptors. So the more you can do to think about, okay, what gets me in good shape? And a lot of people think, oh, well, that means you want me to go run 4 miles. No, it doesn't mean that at all. In fact, they've done a lot of studies on that. Mayo up in Minnesota did some really good, interesting studies looking at the actual mitochondria and 20 and 30 somethings, 50 somethings, and 70 and 80 somethings, people those ages.
Yes.
And they did 3 types of workout. They did the old aerobic, run slowly for multiple miles. Then they did high intensity interval work.
Yes.
And then they did resistance training. So yeah, the aerobics helped a little bit,
Yes.
but by far the most effective was the HIIT training, high intensity interval work.
Really?
And resistance training was a close second. So one of the key things that we do is start educating our patients about, there's a lot of things that we need to be doing differently. Even when from the old health nut days, we used to say, don't eat any fats and go out and run 4 miles. And the problem is maybe a little bit different than we thought. And there's some very different kind of things. Number one, if you're like 90% of us and you can't metabolize all those carbs, you should rethink fats and oils. Those are probably better for you. And eating a lot of carbs is going to stimulate your insulin and decrease your ability to burn fat again.
Right.
So change your diet, adjust, know what you can metabolize safely. Know if you've got this public health problem, this prediabetes, diabetes. If you do, then manage it differently. And instead of just going out and spending hours running around the neighborhood, do some intensity work, do some resistance training, and do some high intensity interval training. And don't just work on your arms. The arms are great, but they're really, in our world and what we're doing, they're more cosmetic than anything else. It's the muscles of the leg, the hips, the thighs. You look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's got huge biceps.
Right.
But where's his real muscle mass?
Legs.
It's in his thighs, his calves, his hips.
Right.
And the reason that's important is because we want to use that muscle mass as that safety valve to pull that blood sugar when it's high back out of the blood and into the muscle where it's safe.
Nice. That's awesome. Great advice. And I believe in it tremendously, because in my world of fitness, we talk about strength training, high intensity interval training. It was good to hear from you that this is one of the best types of exercises we can do to actually pull that sugar out into the muscle. So I'm definitely would like to share that to more people to let them know this is what you need to do, because this is a major problem today. I mean, on a major scale,
It's the number one cause of death.
Oh, unbelievable. And what
It's
you
also
do.
the number one cause of disability.
But most people believe, as you said earlier, once you get into your 50s, 60s, I always hear, well, I'm old now. I can't do what I used to do. So I'm going to sit down and watch TV and just drink loads of Coke all day. I mean, people give up. They say, what's the sense? I'm 55, 60. What's the point? And they just give up, and they get fatter and they get sick, and they expect to get sick because they are getting older. How do you change that?
I used to have a coffee table book with a lot of pictures. It was called Growing Old. The title was Growing Old is Not for Sissies. And it was like this 80-year-old woman who took up powerlifting in her 70s.
Wow.
And, another 80-year-old woman who started swimming in her 60s and swam the English Channel. You remember that Mayo Clinic article that I talked about where they showed that resistance training and interval training was better?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
So you remember I said they did the 80 somethings and the 50 somethings and the 20 and 30 somethings?
Right.
Guess who grew the most mitochondria?
I would think the younger ones because of
We
the
would all think that,
sure.
but you know where I'm going with
I
this.
know where you're going.
The 80
They
something
really
that grew the most mitochondria. And when you think about it, there's another way of thinking about it. It's just what you talked about just a minute ago. Well, I get in my 50s, my 60s, my 70s. I think I'm old and I can't work out anymore. So I quit working out. Well, my muscles, that's atrophy. You know
yes.
that space. And
Yes.
so then you go back and you think, well, what if instead of letting your muscles atrophy or shrink,
Hmm.
you continue to push them even into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s? And sure enough, that's where you can get growth.
Yeah.
Growing old's not for sissies. You have to work to get there.
I'm just
But
gonna write that down. I'm gonna use that. Growing old is not for sissies. The
that's right.
next class, we'll talk about that. I'm
There
sure.
you go.
Well, listen. Okay, thank you, Donna. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I shared that video because I thought it was appropriate, for the class that we're taking. But I had no idea, as I shared with the doctor, that heart disease, I knew heart disease was the number one cause of death for, for all of us, for men and women. But I didn't know it was more powerful, more prevalent, more so not even talked about, especially when you compare it to cancer, to breast cancer. You know, it's amazing to me, and that women are 10 times more, you know, uh, more susceptible to cardiovascular disease than the breast cancer. But cancer organizations are more, they speak loud and
Vince,
more.
I think I know. I think I know why we have more heart attack than men.
Why, Donna?
Because men like to give us problems.
More stress. But that is true. That is true. But I am with Donna with that. But
Oh, Queen is on. All right.
yeah, but hi, darling. Hi, King Vince. But there was a time though that women did not have the heart issues that they do have now.
Hmm.
And I think when we dig back a little bit, you see when women started to have the heart issues that we have, it was when women actually went out and, into the work world at the level that we do, it's,
Huh.
kind of like equal to the men. There was a time when heart disease was called a man's disease. It was kind of like that's why men had heart disease, not women. We
Yeah.
went out into the work world and now we have to compete with the men and then go home and still take care of family. So
Yes.
we have extra stress than
Hmm.
men. The man goes home most times, not pointing fingers at anybody on the platform, but most times the man goes home and he takes his newspaper and he sits down and he says, when's dinner gonna be ready?
Yes.
And
Yes.
forgot that the woman, she was out there working too, and then the children, and so her stress
Hmm.
is more. And so yeah, it makes sense, and it's heart disease, but also I was looking at some research some time ago, and even Alzheimer's, we have more Alzheimer's than men.
Wow.
Yes, yes, women, I think we're 6 times more likely to have Alzheimer's when we get to in the 60s than men.
Wow. That
So
is amazing.
yeah. So we got to look at that, sisters. We got to look at ourselves and see how we're managing, the home, how we're managing work and the stress and, and the men too in our lives. That too.
Yes, yes. But it's amazing because Donna's quick to say that men are stressing the women out, but it's good to know that we're not alone, right? But this,
Yeah,
but these are all preventable diseases,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what I'm getting at. They're all preventable. And we have got to do something about it. And I do believe that what we talk about with eating healthy, moving your body, these are all ways that you can actually make a difference in your lives.
Mm-hmm.
We become stressed, but what are we doing about the stress? We all
Right.
live stressful lives, right? And stress creates the hormone cortisol. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of that cortisol can be actually build up fat in your gut, the worst place to have fat.
Yes, yes.
All right. Yes, yes. And so, but we have to realize that we have to take our health into our own hands. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this doctor was pretty good because he doesn't believe in the traditional way of treating disease. He realized early on that there's more of a dietary situation going on, and we're not moving our bodies as much. And he
Right.
also realized the effectiveness of high intensity interval training and
Mm-hmm.
strength training when it comes to moving that sugar out of the blood and into the muscle. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why women and men, but especially women, need to think about doing strength training exercise. Not think about it, need to do strength training exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do, again, high intensity interval training. You can do that on a treadmill. You can do that on a stair climber. You can do it jogging, on a bicycle. So we have to think about preventive measures that we all can take because stress
Mm-hmm.
is out there. And you got this upcoming election, and all you see and hear is advertisements about, this person, that person. They're blowing up my phone, both parties. You know,
All our phones, all our phones.
thank you. I was wondering if I was alone. I'm like,
No,
what?
phones and email, all the same. My gosh, I can't wait for it to be done.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's crazy. But my thing is, regardless who becomes president, will your life change? Will your health change?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not going
Yeah.
to make me healthier. They're sure not going to make me wealthier.
Yeah.
So we have to choose where we give our energy.
Yep.
Right? That's important.
Yep. 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 For
Right?
sure.
So I mean, we're all in agreement about that. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. Right? And
Mhm.
so I thought it was helpful to hear from the good doctor. You know,
No, I'm happy. I'm happy you shared that, and I'm happy that it's recorded, so we'll have that as well.
definitely. And I wish I interviewed Marlene Queen Marlene, on my
Yes.
6 Weeks of Fitness podcast not too long ago, and it
Yes.
was very well received because I realized you have such knowledge and information. And at some point next time I have a program like this, you're gonna have to share your knowledge
No problem. Absolutely.
because it would be quite helpful. But for
Mhm.
those of you who want to watch my interview with Marlene, you can find it on my 6 Weeks of Fitness podcast. And the interview with the good doctor, you also find it on my 6 Weeks to Fitness podcast as well. It's a lot of good interviews there. But this is a matter of the utmost importance that we take control of our health.
Mhm.
So I know you come to the class, and as I always often repeat, it's not what you do on Tuesday and Thursday when we see you. It's a community. It's great to see you, and we look forward to seeing you. But it's what you do in those days in between that's going to determine the outcome of your health, right? Because you can do it. And I know it's not easy. The hardest thing I think, even with someone like myself who may go to a physical gym, the hardest thing is to get up and go. But when you're there, can't be stopped. It feels good. And when you're finished working out, you're so glad you did because it really relieved a lot of stress and it actually increased your energy levels. It's giving you more positive energy. And that's what we need more of today. We need more positive energy. Somebody asked me, do I watch the news? I said, well, you know what? I don't watch the news because the news is full of negativity. And of course, you have to know what's going on, but do I have to be overwhelmed? I say no. I say that you have to guard not only your thoughts, you have to guard what goes into your into your eyes. Guard what goes into your mind. Okay? That's going to affect how you perform, how you feel, how you live your day. If I listen to the news every day, I would be afraid to go outside my door. Okay? And I know this is the Halloween season with trick-or-treat, all kind of skeletons and ghosts and goblins outside. But with the media have you thinking that's how it is all the time. No, you have to live your life. You have one life to live, last time I checked. And it's up to us to live it fully, fearlessly, and healthily. But you're not going to live it healthily until you start eating healthily. What have you eaten? Has everyone here today, can you honestly say that I've eaten some fruit today? Can you honestly say, thumbs up, yes, that I've eaten some fruit? And I call fruit God's candy, right?
Yes, sir.
Because it's full of life. And we are living beings. And as long as we're alive, we need to eat living food. That's for sure. Because that's going to add to your body on a cellular level. Eating good is good for your skin. It's good for your heart. It's good for your lungs. It's good for your entire body. Because your body knows real food. It doesn't recognize the fake stuff. And that's the truth. And I shared some time ago that I saw a photo of someone who had a McDonald's cheeseburger, and he put it in one of his coat pockets. And a year later, he looked at that burger and it looked almost the same. That wouldn't be the case with real food.
Nope.
Right? Now, it wouldn't be the case. So, and we know that they're putting chemicals in the food, dyes that, I believe Sky shared that, and I shared that last week as well. They're putting these dyes in the food, and they're being allowed in our foods, and those dyes are known to cause cancer and other ADHD and other issues. And yet, they allow it in our food supply. The FDA is aware of it. So they're aware that it's killing us, but what are we doing about it? Are we still eating it? Are we still filling our bodies with it, knowing that it's going to hurt us, knowing that it's going to hurt your children? If you don't care about yourself, care about your kids and your grandkids. Because they're the ones that's going to be left with this mess. And if they can't function on a higher level, what chance do they have? We have to feed our minds, our brains with such food, such goodness, so that no matter what comes at us, we can handle it. And if we don't, and it starts with what you feed yourself in the kitchen. That's where it starts. And people often ask me how to flatten your stomach. And I have a book that I've written, and I'm going to give a copy to all you guys about it. But I always tell people a flat stomach is made in the kitchen, not in the gym. It's what you put in your body that's going to determine if your stomach's going to flatten or not, right? It's in our hands. So this has been great. And I know that you guys are looking forward to the next class with George. And tired of hearing from me, I'm sure. But I just wanted to share that with you and share the information from that good doctor, because he realizes that, we're dying early, needlessly. There's no reason to die from a heart attack in your 50s and 60s and 70s or 80s. You should be able to strengthen your heart enough to live beyond those years. I mean, look, we know stuff happens, but it shouldn't be the norm. That's all I'm saying. And we shouldn't be dependent upon people to take us to places when we are in our 60s and 70s, and we can get up on our own. And that's why you have to strengthen your muscles. It takes muscles just to get out of a chair, just to sit down, okay? It takes muscles to do it. So that's why you need to strengthen your muscles. And if you have a sugar problem, all the more reason to work out with weights, because it's going to pull that sugar from the blood to the muscle where it can do more work. So that helps you. And if you're not working out with weights, I admonish you to start doing it. It'll make your goals to lose weight. It'll make your goals to flatten that stomach. It'll make that goals to reduce heart disease, type 2 diabetes, much easier with the weight training. And don't forget, whenever possible, a plant-based diet. That's the key. Again, living foods for living people. You may wonder why dogs are animals, pets today, they tend to get certain diseases that humans get. But do you know why that is? Because they're eating human food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's why, because pets don't normally get cancer and heart disease and issues like that. But when you start feeding them human food that we shouldn't be eating, this is what happens. The processed foods, in other words. Okay? Now,
Ultra processed.
Not just processed, ultra processed.
Ultra processed, which is 74% of the foods in our supermarkets.
74%.
Yes, 70+% of the foods in our supermarkets are ultra processed. That means additives, modified chemically, and also they mix the modified with the unmodified. I mean, the list goes on, and then of course all the dyes and all this stuff we're getting. That and let me tell you, they can't even send a lot of the foods we eat in America. England and Europe don't want a lot of our stuff. Europe says don't send them to us. We don't want it in our country. We don't want our people to be exposed to the food that you guys eat in America.
Yes.
That's how bad it is.
That's how bad it is. And I shared a video, and I talked about it in our class, where in Canada, okay, first of all, you guys know about the cereal called Fruit Loops, right?
Oh yeah.
And Fruit Loops has dye in it, and it's mentioned in the ingredients. But do you know those same Fruit Loops with the dye that they give us is not allowed in Canada?
Yes, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
So why are they giving us the bad stuff?
Not allowed in England either.
What's
not
that?
There. It's not allowed in the UK.
In the UK either. But
It's
in the US, it's give it to the US. Give it to, they'll eat anything. You know?
Give it to Mikey.
It's horrible. So we've got to take a step. If you want to feel better, look better, be more energized, stop putting that garbage in your body.
Yeah.
Stop putting it in your body. It's just like that. Is it easier said than done? Perhaps.
And it's been that way for quite some time. The disrespect we suffer in this country from the food manufacturers, I call it disrespect and abuse, from our food manufacturers. People in Europe don't experience that because their government says no. No. I'm telling you, even one of the great experience I had recently in Paris, I went into a Burger King because we were doing stuff there. Right. And just wanted the experience. And they didn't even serve plastic. We had wooden spoons in Burger King.
Really?
Utensils were wood.
Really? No plastics?
No plastics.
What does that tell you, man?
No plastics.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's a different mindset. It's a different mindset of how we care for our people.
It is. And it's killing our people. And it's about money. This is a large market. And they're making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
And there's no money for them in health. It's all in sickness and basically just feeding our kids crapola, you know?
Yeah. High fructose corn syrup is hiding, You remember the days when we used to get real sugar in our sodas and stuff? That's a long gone. Now you're getting high fructose corn syrup, which is toxic to the liver. Yes, I mean, it's really so bad for our liver. So then you have more fatty liver disease in our communities than ever before, and our young children as well.
Yes. I gave a talk to the high school kids a couple of years ago, and I was amazed. They asked me to come in and talk about health, and I was amazed that all the kids that came in had bottles of soda, cans of soda in the classroom, Big Macs, cheese, and then I talked about the labels, and the sugar, the sugar content in those sodas, the
Mhm.
kids are overwhelmed. The 38 grams, 60 grams. This is what you're consuming, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that made an impact, but this was the norm in our schools. It's a shame,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So look, this has been great. I'm happy to spend a little time with you guys to chat, and I thank you guys for not minding my coming to talk to you like this on Thursday nights. I appreciate the opportunity. But now let's get back to the main attraction, which is George. Is George on the line? Is George in the house? And Marlene, Queen
Can you hear
Marlene,
me?
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, George,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. And Donna's going to spotlight you, I believe.
We gotta hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hello?
Yes.
George, we hear you. I'm just waiting to see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you hear me? Oh, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. I've been dropped out of the Zoom for about 4 or 5 times so far.
Really? You hear me, George?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Looking forward to this class. Just explain exactly what they're going to be experiencing tonight when
Oh,
you're
you're
ready.
going to be experiencing a lot of heat.
A lot of heat.
We're going to get the body warmed up. We're going to be doing and also while we're doing this, I know I keep hearing me talk about the breathing. It's very important, but it's also to help add a cardio element to your training as well. Because by being able to control your breathing, you're training the heart, you're training the lungs. It's almost
Okay.
as if you're getting on a treadmill running miles.
Okay.
So by being able to control your breathing, that's another way to add a layer into your workout.
Okay. You're frozen on my end.
Okay.
I can use some heat. It's so chilly in my house right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Okay, let's get started. I don't know. I keep dropping in and out. If I do, hopefully I'll be right back. All right,
Technology, man.
everybody to the top of your mats. Just start to ground yourselves using the bottom of your feet to gently push the ground down and away from you. And as you're doing that, you're feeling the muscles in your legs start to activate. You feel that energy rising up from your feet. Can you hear the music? So we're here at the top of the mats, bringing the top of the boards. And start with the breathing, pulling the air in through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Try to add a bit of an audible quality to your breath. And we're back. Take a big deep breath in, bring your hands up above your head, bring the palms together, and exhale. As you exhale, you're pushing your hands up towards the ceiling, pulling the shoulders down towards the ground, and just reaching up. Continue to breathe deep and bend back just slightly, feeling the hips open up, the chest open. Okay, if you're with me now, we got our hands behind our head, opening up the shoulders, bringing the elbows towards the back of the mat. And exhale. Continuing to use our feet to push the ground down and away, generating energy from the ground up. Opening up the chest, filling up the lungs. And exhale. Fold forward. Bring your hands down towards the ground, knees towards your chest. We're going to hold here for about 3 breaths. You should feel lengthening in the back of the legs. If you need to, you can bend your knees. But as your knees are bent, you want to continue to bring your hips towards the ceiling. On that third inhale, we're going to rise up, bringing the hands up above the head. And bring the hands back behind the head, clasping them together. And exhale, you're going to twist towards your left. Exhaling, keeping those elbows open up. And inhale, bring it back towards center. And exhale, twisting in the opposite direction. Inhale, bringing the hands up towards the ceiling. And exhale, fold down again. Hands towards the ground. And then from here, we're just going to step right leg back, left leg back. Bring the knees to the ground. Bring the chest towards the ground. Top of your feet onto the mat. You're going to inhale, extending the arms, pulling your chest forward. Opening up the shoulders, looking up towards the ceiling. Exhale, tucking your toes. Bring your hips up towards the ceiling. Drawing the energy of your heels down towards the ground. Take a big deep breath in. Hold here for 3 breaths. Inhale, opening up, pulling the abdomen away from the legs. And on your next exhale, you're going to bring the knees back towards the ground. You're going to stay about 1 inch off the ground here. And bring it back up. I'm going to repeat a few more times. Exhaling, bringing the knees towards the ground. Inhale, lifting the hips back up. Deep breath in. Coming to about a 1 inch hover off of the mat. Lowering ourselves slowly. And back up. Keeping our movement and our breathing as one. Let's go down one more time. And inhale back up. We're going to hold here for 5 breaths. Take that time to reconnect with your breathing if need be. Open up your fingers nice and wide. Feet and hands gently pushing the ground down and away from you as you lift the hips up towards the ceiling.
drawing your heels towards the ground. Breathing deeply and fully. Let's get 3 more breaths here in this position. Continue to move the hips towards the ceiling. And on your next exhale, we're going to bring the knees down towards the ground. You bring your hands back towards your feet. We're going to move into a half lifted position. So you're lifting the chest up halfway, hands just under the knees, extending the back straight, moving the chin towards the top of your mat. Shoulders moving towards the rear of the mat. So exhale, fold forward, bring the hands down towards the ground, chest towards your knees. Dropping the head, and lifting the hips. And inhale, we're going to bring it up to a standing position, bringing the hands up above the head. Palms together, gazing at your thumbs. Exhale, bring the arms down, shake it out. I want you to bring your feet together, your toes together, your heels are going to be about an inch or two apart. Bringing our palms together. We're bringing our hips towards the ground, extending the hands and the arms away from the body, lifting the chest up. Get 3 more breaths here in this position. Then you bringing the hips down as you lift the chest, moving the arms and hands away from the body. And on your next exhale, we're going to fold forward over folded legs, hands on the ground, extending the legs, bringing the hips to the ceiling, chest to the knees. Coming to this downward dog position. Your hands and your feet are about shoulder width apart from each other. Lifting the hips up. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to bend your left leg, and you're going to reach back as far as you can to grab either your heel or the back of your left leg. And once you got it, you're just going to start to slowly straighten that leg. Everything else remains the same. Bringing the heels towards the ground, using our hands and feet to push the ground away from us. Gently take your head and turn your gaze up under your left shoulder. And slowly bend that leg and release. Bring the right arm forward, shoulder width away from the left hand. And let's bring the right knee to a bend, making the left hand reaching behind the right leg. Once you've got a grasp, either in the heel, the calf, anywhere in the lower leg, you're going to start to slowly straighten. And if you have access to it, you'll start to turn your head and look up underneath your right armpit. One more breath here. So inhale, bring the left hand forward. Bringing the hips up towards the ceiling, heels to the ground. Take a big deep breath in. Right heel up towards the ceiling. And exhale, bend the right knee, bring the left foot over towards the left side of the mat, opening up the hips, still maintaining that balance on the left foot, both hands using them to push the ground away as you open up the hip. And inhale, straightening up the right leg, bringing the right heel to the ceiling. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Spin that left heel down. We're going to bring our arms up towards the ceiling, using the outer edge of the left foot to push forward into the right knee. Feel the hips opening up as you turn them towards the top of the mat, gazing up towards your thumbs. On your next exhale, we're going to open our arms out to a T, turning our chest and our hips towards the left side of the mat, but continuing to use the outside of that left foot to push us forward into the right knee. Exhale, right hand down, cartwheel the left hand towards the mat, step the left leg forward. We're going to push our hips to the ceiling, heels to the ground. Take a big deep breath in. Left foot comes up towards the ceiling, right heel towards the mat. Just exhale, bend the left knee, bring the left foot over towards the right side of the mat. Pushing the ground away from us, helping us to find that extension. And inhale. Left heel back up towards the ceiling. Let's exhale, step the left foot forward. Spin the right heel down, finding our balance, lifting our upper body up. Bringing our arms up towards the ceiling with our hips facing the front of the mat. Drawing the palms together as you gaze towards the thumb. Moving deeper into the left knee. And as you exhale, let's open up the arms to a T. Moving the hips and the chest towards the left side of the mat. Your gaze is over the middle finger of your left hand. Using the outside of that right foot to push deeper into the left knee. Next exhale. Left hand comes down, right hand cartwheels down. Stepping the left leg back. From here, we're going to pull our chest towards the ground. Elbows are close to your body. If you need, you can bring your knees to the ground and pull yourself down gently. Top of the feet onto the mat. And extend the arms, pulling the chest forward. Shoulders back. Exhale. Tucking the toes. Hips to the ceiling. Heels towards the ground. Holding here for 5 breaths. Inhaling deeply. Connecting your body to your breathing. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. 3 more breaths. One more breath. As you exhale, gently bring your knees towards the ground. Coming to an all-4 position. And take a big deep breath in. And relax. Hopefully everybody's warmed up. Get yourself some water. And you're going to be back in this position on all 4s. And once in this position in about 15 seconds, we're going to be doing some press-ups. So from here, bringing the chest towards the ground, pushing the ground away, bringing your hips back towards your heels. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's go for it. Clock is going. Pulling yourself down. As you come down, make sure your elbows are tight, close to your body. You want to protect the elbows, protect the shoulders. Continuing to keep your breathing in sync with the movement. So you don't want to be moving too fast or breathing too fast for that matter. As you're going down, make sure to bring the belly button away from the legs. keeping the back straight, your core solid. Proper breathing helps with all of that. Expanding the lower part of the abdomen as you inhale, followed by the upper part of the abdomen, and then the lungs. And as you're moving, coming towards the ground, imagine you're pulling yourself towards the mat. And on the way up, you're pushing the ground away from you. Taking your time. And relax. 30 seconds. Going to meet in a standing position. And we're going to do some jumping jacks. I'll show you the modified version first. Starting with your feet a little bit more shoulder width apart. Lift the knee up, clap the hands. Modified, or we can go traditional, slap and clap. Whatever you feel comfortable with, but still make sure you're challenging yourself. And let's go for it. Also bringing the knees up. You're doing it without the jumping. Bring those knees up as high as you can. Get the arms moving. Inhaling as you come up, exhaling on the way down. Whatever you're doing, just keep moving. Try to extend those arms up, make them as long as you can. This is a low impact way of doing jumping jacks without actually jumping. Still very effective. Any workout is only as effective as much effort as you put into it. And relax. So in about 23 seconds, we're going to meet on our backs, legs out straight. And we're going to be doing leg raises. So keeping the legs straight, right leg comes up, comes down, left leg comes up, goes down, and we're alternating. Let's go for it. Using the muscles here in the lower abdomen to bring those legs up, the hip flexors. And we're not just swinging the leg. As you're doing this, I want you to keep moving your heels away from the body. And you lift that leg up as high as you can. Also very important, I want you to bring your lower back and pull it towards the mat. That helps to protect the spine, as well as activate that lower abdomen. Inhaling, exhaling. And relax. All right. About 20 seconds, we've got some burpees. So start from the back, squatting down, walk yourself out, walk your hands back in, arms up. If you need to, you just squat down, work on that, bringing the arms up. But we're gonna go. Remember to keep moving. Let's go for it. Walk yourself out. And as you're doing this, you want to try to maintain steady breathing. It's the game with inside the game. Stay in contact with your body. Notice how it feels as you're going through these movements. Come up, lift up on your heels if you want, on your toes, lifting the heels. Help to involve a little bit more of the body. Again, these are movements and muscles that we use every day, or we should be. And even before you feel your form is breaking down, take a break. Catch a breath. Start it over. And relax. All right, we got lunges. We're going to start with the right leg. So starting, feet about shoulder width apart. Step back. Bring the right knee up. Taking your time. Alternately, if you need to, up and down. And we're still lunging. Bringing that knee up. So we're doing lunges right now. Bringing the knee up. Taking your time. A few more seconds to go. Hello. All right, if you're still with me, we're going on to the left side, left leg lunges. Left leg goes back. Step forward, bring the knee up. If you need to, for a modified version, you assume the lunge position, pull the knee down, and back up. Pulling yourself down, pushing the ground on the way back up. Remember to breathe in deeply Just exhaling out. You exhale, you don't need to force it out, just allow it to leave. Still going. Got about 10 seconds left of these. Apologize for the in and out. We gotta keep going. A few more seconds. And relax. Coming up next, we got squat jumps. What does that look like? Feet wide, we're gonna squat, jump in, jump out, squat down. If you don't have access to the jumping, squat, bring the feet in, squat, and back out. And let's go for it. Remember, as you go down, you're pulling yourself down. On the way up, you're pushing the ground away from you. Less than a minute to go. About 30 seconds left. Exhaling down, inhaling up. And all right, if you're with me, I'm going to sit down. We're going to be doing crab kicks. From here, lifting your hips up, and you're lifting the heel up to the ceiling. Alternating right and left. Breathing in deeply, keeping those hips raised. Keeping those hips towards the ceiling. Keeping the breath steady. And just think about moving your heel up to the ceiling with as straight of a leg as possible. Ending with the deep breaths in and the controlled breaths out. And let's relax. You're going to flip over Onto your front side, we're going to be going into planks. So for the planks, if you need, you can start on your elbows and your knees. To progress from there, lift the knees up, or you can do the knees with your arms straight, or we can go arms straight, legs straight. So let's go for it. Breathing in deeply. Keeping the butt out the air. You don't want the butt all the way up here. If you find your butt's up here, then maybe you need to bring your knees down and straighten the legs, or maybe you need to come to the elbows. But we want to keep the butt same level as the shoulders, or even lower. We're pulling the back of the knees up towards the ceiling. Breathing in deeply. And relax. So from this position here, you're going to bring your feet together, separate your knees, and we're going to pull our hips down towards the heels. So we extend the arms straight out in front of us, pulling the chest towards the ground. And we're just holding here in this position, allowing the body to come to a rest. Start to cool the body down, bring the heart rate back down. And let's utilize that heat that we've just generated to help stretch, getting deep into the muscles, helping to bring our ligaments and tendons back into balance. When your body's out of balance, that's when you feel the pains, the aches and pains. Using this time to ease into the position that your body wants to go into. And visualize your hips moving closer and closer to your heels with each breath. Not offering any resistance. Letting the chest come down towards the ground. And slowly relax. Just move gently up out of that position. And from there, we're going to have come to a seated position. Bring our legs straight out in front of us. And we're going to reach towards the lowest part of our legs. No matter how far down your leg you get, I want you to take your chin and start to aim towards your toes, and you're starting to pull your chin towards your toes with each breath. As you inhale, you're finding length and extension in the spine, and exhale, you're moving closer and closer towards the chin, from the chin towards the toes. Shoulders are relaxed, the back is nice and straight, and ever so slightly we're moving forward with each breath. You feel that in the back of the legs, the lower back, wherever your body needs the attention, you'll sense it. And when you do, close your eyes, visualize your breath traveling to that area, helping to open up any blockages. Making sure that the breath is steady, not choppy or shallow. You want deep and steady. And relax. Okay, we're going to continue with another forward fold. So I'm going to have you open your legs as wide as you can. You're going to take your right hand over towards your right foot, your left hand over towards your left foot, and we're just going to reach and allow our body to drop forward. If you want, you can bring your hands towards the ground as well. Give yourself a little more stability. And as you're doing it, you're imagining you're pulling your butt down towards the ground, finding that extension in the spine, moving the chin towards the mat. Just allowing ourselves to come to put a few more seconds here in this position. Some stretches you're going to feel more than others. It all depends on what your body needs. So it's important to, as you're breathing through, be aware of that so you can give your body that attention that it needs. A few seconds more. Allowing your body to move deeper and deeper into rest. relax. Okay, so from here, you're just gonna cross the legs. You need to cross your legs, or you can bring the bottom of your feet together, keeping the back straight. And you just gently leaning forward, coming as far as forward as you can. Remember, we're not trying to force anything. It's just taking note of where you feel either tightness, some tension maybe. And what happens when you breathe into that area? What happens as you use the seat of your butt to push the ground down away from you? You don't need to bring your chest towards the ground. We only need to move as far forward as our body's going to allow. We want to get to that point where we feel some sensation and we're able to breathe a deep, steady breath. Let's slowly relax. I'm going to bring yourselves to a position lying down on your back. From here, you're going to tuck your shoulders underneath your body. Legs are straight out, heels are together, feet fall out to the side with your palms up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to lay here and relax. Continuing to breathe in deeply and exhale, taking note of the rise and the fall of the chest. Inhale deeply. Allow that breath to leave, keeping the face relaxed. Allowing your body to just melt down into the mat. Only focusing on the breath right now, moving in and around throughout the body. And release. Inhaling deeply again. And let's slowly start to bring some awareness back to our fingers and our toes, giving them a wiggle. Feeling the energy move back throughout our bodies. Slowly start to seat yourself up. As you come to a seated position, bring your arms up. Give yourselves a round of applause. I apologize for the technical issues.
Hopefully you were able to keep up with me somewhat.
Yes, George, I'm glad that you knew it was quite challenging, man. It was a great exercise as usual, but I know for everyone on that it was challenging, not only because of the movement, but because of the freezing. And George, you and I spoke about this before, and I want to see, can you create a
Hello.
30-minute, I'm sorry, George, you hear me? George, is
Hello?
George, you hear me now? George. Okay, George is having technical difficulties, and I know you guys noticed it as well. And I appreciate you hanging on. You could have just said, this is not working for me tonight, but you kept going, you stayed on, and I really appreciate that. This goes to show that you really want this, right? But what we're going to do, I'm going to have George do another class. He's going to record a class in the next couple of days, and I'm asking him to send me a copy so that I can send it to you guys by hopefully before the end of the weekend. So you can do the class again, because it was really a good class. And I just hate the fact that it kept, it kept hesitating, kept lagging, but we can't control sometimes what happens. As you know, I know when it comes to Zoom, and we all have technical difficulties, but we're going to straighten that out. We'll get another copy over to you before the week is out, okay? So you can actually do this flawlessly. That's extremely important. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, what you had to work with anyway. But we want you to get the full impact of the activities because they're so special. And some of those activities that George was doing is basically high intensity interview training as well, like the squat jumps and the burpees. That's part of it. But I think most of you don't know what high intensity interval training really is and how to really do it. So tomorrow I'm going to email you some instructions of what you can do. You can do it on a treadmill for those of you who have access to a treadmill, to an elliptical, to a bike, or if you just have 2 feet and you want to do it as a walking, running program, a walking, jogging program, you can do it that way as well. Now, I'm a firm believer in this. I can't tell you how many people I've helped by sharing high intensity interval training with them. They could not believe how they felt after doing it. In 2 weeks of doing high intensity interval training, you're going to feel a difference. And the reason it's so effective is that even when you stop doing the activity, you continue burning fat calories for hours later. When you do aerobics, you say you're in an aerobics class or you're just doing a regular jog and you stop, you actually cease burning calories. But when you do high intensity interval training or even strength training, your body is still in fat burning mode. And that's why it's so powerful. And it also releases the human growth hormones in our bodies. And that's what helps you to actually build lean muscle. And lean muscle is going to help you burn fat. So I'm going to send you that those instructions tomorrow. Now, I want you to check it out. If you have any questions, it's also in my book, but this is something that you guys need to know right away. If you have any questions on how to perform it properly, all you have to do is reach out to me because I want to know that you're getting the benefit. This is going to jumpstart your metabolism. This is going to give you that extra kick you needed to burn the fat. Okay? And if you do it the way I recommend, you're going to see and feel a difference in a matter of weeks. You're going to see it. Actually, after the first time you do it, you're going to feel it. I promise you. Okay? So I wish I could be there when you try it because you're not going to believe how effective this type of training is. But it's just what you need. And that's why we're here, to kind of give you something else. You may have been trying this out on your own, trying to lose weight, trying to get in shape, but we're trying to give you other ways to do it, other ways to think about it. Don't forget that energy flows where your attention goes. Okay, so put your attention on your health. because your health matters. Now, do I have any questions from you before we say good night? But I will send this whole video back over to you tonight as well. But just know that we're going to I will be sending you a revised copy of the exercise portion because I want you to have it and I want you to really benefit from it. But any questions tonight? Did you enjoy the program regardless of the technical difficulties that we had? Yes, no, maybe?
It's always a great session.
Thank you, Liz. And thank you, Keelana. I'm definitely not feeling chilly now. Keelana said her dog actually decided he wanted to lay on her legs while she was doing one of the stretches. That's the dogs, they get into the act, don't they? Trisha said, appreciate it, Vincent Joyce. Well, we appreciate you being here and doing it. Like I said, you have to do the work. And it's not just what you do when we see you or have you in our presence. It's when you're not when you're not here on the Zoom. Okay, what you're doing, how you taking care of your health. And I do believe that those of you who are on here tonight are here because you really want it and you believe in it. And that's important. Glenna said, thanks so much. You are so welcome, Glenna. It's our pleasure. And Queen Maureen said, we appreciate the challenge. Yes, it is a challenge, but you're so worth it. That's what counts, you know? So we're going to send all that positive energy out there to you guys and believe that you're going to make each day count. You know, tomorrow is Friday. I know it's the start of the weekend, but it's your body. Your body needs you each and every day. So don't let your body down. Okay? I know it's tempting. The weekend, let's go out there and party and have a good time. And you can have a good time, but be healthy about it. That's all I'm saying. I want you to have a lot of good times, not just a temporary good time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Keelana said, couldn't hold some of the stretches for the full count. Understandable, especially with my shoulder giving me some issues. But overall, it felt great to get through. And you're most welcome. Marjorie says, thank you, Vince, Donna, and George. I did enjoy the program, and the difficulties were not so bad. I just kept moving. That's the main thing. Even when the glitches happen, you just keep moving. Right? Just keep going. Is George on?
Yes.
Yeah, George. So I mentioned to the class about the glitches, but I want you to can you put together a 30-minute exercise class just like you did today, but for 30 minutes?
I'll get it to you by Saturday morning.
Okay, great. Because I want to send it out.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, George. You hear me? But anyway, George said he'll get it to me by Saturday. So I'll get it to you guys after I get it from George. I'll send it out to you. But this way you can take the class on Sunday again, right? Yeah, but I'm going to call George on the phone because the Zoom thing isn't working. So I'll be in touch with him. But you guys, I want you to really have a blessed evening and an even wonderful weekend that's coming, all right? Again, your health matters. It's in your hands what you do each and every day. And if you keep track, send me the log on your form on Monday so I can read it, okay? And I may reach out to a couple of you just to see how you're doing. All right, so all that being said, have a wonderful night. God bless you guys. And thank you, George. Thank you, Donna. Thank you guys for being on. And I will see you on Tuesday with Carmen and Sky, where we'll talk about intermittent fasting. You've got to be there for that one, okay? It's very important. And one more announcement. On November 16th is our next special presentation with Orville Douglas, a good friend of mine. He's a fruitarian. He'll talk about his journey and the power of fruits. You don't want to miss this. It's a very important presentation. And I'm opening it up to the general public as well. All are invited. All the best, take care, and I'll see you again. God bless you. Bye-bye.